Throughout the centuries, nerd stereotypes has been a problem as they are often been seen as weirdos, freaks, and aliens just because of the things they do and enjoy. However, what interests my group and I is that these stereotypes are changing. They are becoming mainstream in both media and society. There is a shop in Nottingham we found that provides a space for these board game players called the Dice Cup. Therefore, we've decided to spend a week to try to get to know people in the shop and try to get some of their stories, what they've been through as a nerd. The Ryan Little Adventure Quest. We've successfully got Matt, the owner of the Dice Cup, to explain the purpose and to introduce his shop.
My name's Matt. I lived in Nottingham since about 95 when I came here to uni. And I've always been a board gamer, Magic player. About 3 years ago, the gaming groups that I went to were outgrowing the spaces that we're in, so we decided to try to open a board game cafe, and this is it. I remember playing Monopoly and Cluedo and that kind of things when I was a kid, so back in the 80s probably. That was probably my first experience. So we had a couple of groups in, it's probably like 4 or 5, maybe more groups in Nottingham that would gather occasionally and play board games. One of the things was that they would be, so one was in the basement at Lee Rosie's and one was in the function room above the Poacher, and so they weren't kind of visible, they were kind of secret societies in a way. Like, you might stumble across them, but most likely you only find them if you are looking for a board game group. So one of the things we wanted was more space to play, because more people were finding the groups and not outgrowing those rooms that we're in. But another one was that I wanted people to be able to walk past and see that board games were a thing, and so that's why we loved the windows in this place, because people walk past and they see all the board games on the shelves. They see, the room full of people playing board games, and they realise that, oh, those board games that I used to play as a kid, they've not gone away. They're just something I've forgotten about, but they're still a big thing. People come here for all kinds of reasons. I mean, we have people making special trips from other cities to come here and play games. We have people that live here who, some people just pop in for coffee and to enjoy the atmosphere. Other people just come to play games occasionally with their friends. We've got some regulars who come pretty much every day, and this is their kind of their social scene. So yeah, you've got all kinds of people come here for lots of different reasons. So casual gamers, serious gamers, people who've never played board games before come in and they're like, I don't know what all this is, but it looks interesting and I want to try it. And so we can introduce people to games that are easy to learn, fun to play, and then
2 wheels just sort of go, and the carriage falls over. Goes straight up the in the way. It's enough in the way as well. Oh wow! I've got a jack. You don't need to. You two go flying.
Just I'm sorry, you don't have health and safety in your world, do you?
We don't know what that is.
If heavy objects want to get out of the way.
What did you roll? You both take 3 points of crushing damage as the carriage slams into you.
Do I just get my jack and hitch it up again?
Yeah, you winch the carriage back. No, the carriage are now on the side. You'll have to reattach to the other side.
We're also able to get some of the nice people that we met from Dungeons and Dragons to share their backstory, as we are interested to know how they were in their past.
It's a good sort of excuse to get together every week with your friends and hang out and play for several hours at a time. It's nice because it's not only is it sort of a fantasy game that I would be playing anywhere on my computer, but it's also a social event.
And I get to come here, meet my friends, have a good night, laugh.
If you would ask me like what I was doing a year ago on a Saturday at this time, or like a Friday night, I'd be at home on my computer probably playing a video game or maybe like Overwatch or Rainbow Six. But it's like I've kind of had to be drawn out and how I spend less time on the computer and spend more time interacting with a bunch of quite nice people, a bunch of great people. Apparently D&D is sort of one of those tiers where it's, once you get to it, that means like you're the nerd. So I kind of got teased about that at work incessantly and by my parents and my brothers and sisters. But the moment I actually was just like, okay, how about you just come, let me run a session for you, play some D&D, and let me show you what it's about. And now I run a regular game with people from work on a Wednesday after everyone's done. So it's kind of gone from being that nerd over there to being, oh, it's that guy. That guy's like quite cool. And well, people that have actively tried to like join my game at work and playing, accidentally killing your boss in D&D is gets really awkward, especially when it comes to the next day. It's just like your boss just comes to you with another character and it's like, yeah, you can definitely do that. Don't fire me, please.
I think nerd's getting cooler. I think nerd used to be like a derogatory term, whereas now I think people are coming around to nerd as being imaginative, creative, spending time doing things other than traditional drinking, going out partying and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's getting progressively more gender inclusive, more social and more acceptable.
And in the past, you know, it was like one category nerd. It was lame. Now it's cool.
Alright, thank you. Those are some good answers.
Thank you very much. And now I look into the camera. This is for the blooper reel.
When they were asked about the problem they face in terms of stereotypes, we were surprised by the answer they gave.
It's not been a big issue for me, and I'm kind of quite happy to be a weirdo.
A little bit, yeah. Like geek and all that kind of stuff. Oh my god, you're such a nerd, all that kind of stuff that you get put at you. They're like, oh, do you want to come out for a drink? And I'm like, no, I've got D&D on Saturdays. And they're like, I feel like we're progressively moving away from stereotypes to be more inclusive, because I think more people are coming around to, and especially more girls as well, are coming around to the fact that board games and D&D is really fun. So, but yeah, I've had a little bit of stereotyping, but nothing I can't handle.
You know, it's not like the 90s or the 80s where people thought, oh, you're such a nerd for playing board games. It's like not as really a stereotype anymore.
After spending time with people in the Dice Club, we realized that there are actually kind and friendly people to spend time with, which surprises because it breaks off the stereotypes of them being weird and introvert. Instead of spending money on alcohol and clothes, they actually spend money to sit together with their friends with the same hobby and enjoy a nice simple game, as this has become rare because of the rise of video games. Being someone with less to zero experience with board games, we are proud to say that we are very interested, hooked even, to some of these games, not just because it's fun, but we're able to meet lots of friends. Even today, we've been thinking when we could go back to play with some of our friends. We're glad that we picked this place for our documentary because it makes us realize that this is actually a really good hobby to have.
Yeah.